Welcome home to USA Global TV and Radio, a place where dreams take flight, with authentic storytelling, diverse perspectives and meaningful conversations, where global stories unite and bridges are built beyond all borders. Discover world-class education, entertainment, hope and inspiration. Together, we're building bridges worldwide. Subscribe to our channel, USA Global TV. Download our app, USA Global TV. Be our guest or join our team. Visit usaglobaltv.com. Thanks to our founder and executive producer, Dr. Jacqueline Kerbeck. Music score by Yeffy Tang from Cloud Road Music. Voiceover artist Mike Porter. Creative direction by Paul Garcia. USA Global TV and Radio. Your home for global connection. All rights reserved. This video and its contents are the exclusive property of USA Global TV and Radio. Unauthorized use, duplication or redistribution in any form is strictly prohibited.
USA Global TV and Radio proudly presents The Corner Bookstore, hosted by Red O'Loughlin. Step into a world where every story inspires. These pages come to life through the voices of authors from around the globe. Written by our global community of TV show hosts and best-selling authors, these works span genres, generations, and geographies, united by the power of storytelling. Discover your next favorite book and meet the minds behind the work. Thursdays, only on USA Global TV and Radio.
Howdy all, Randall O'Loughlin here from Houston, Texas. I am a researcher when I'm not doing TV shows. I research the human body at the cellular level, chemically speaking. I look for cause and effect relationships. Treat a cause, fix a problem. Treat symptoms, and you'll always be treating symptoms. And unless the body heals itself, whatever caused it could get worse. Anyway, that's what I write about. That's what I speak about. I've written books on it. It's a passion of mine. It's one thing I really and truly get into. In fact, today, I think my topic on Talking Heads about 2 hours from now is on brain longevity. You know, how do you prevent age-related disease in the brain? Anyway, that's enough about that particular show for right now. But my guest today is Kim-Adele Randall. Kim is also a host here on the USA Global TV and Radio Network, and I'm so honored today to get her to be a guest on my show. She's also an author, international best-selling author, a leadership coach, a business consultant, a podcaster, host, a mom, all sorts of things. Anyway, Kim, please join me up here on stage.
Hi, Red.
Howdy. I guess we could tell from that accent you're not from the United States.
No, I'm from the UK, just outside London.
Okay. Let's go ahead and start first with your books, because I know that's the primary focus here of the bookstore, the Corner Bookstore. So you have a book literally coming out tomorrow. Let's tell us about that. You have it there in your hand.
So it's here. It's called Always With You. And it was never meant to be a book, if I'm honest, Red. I wrote it for my little girl earlier this year, when it was the first anniversary of my dad's death. And it was designed to just help her in understanding how do you help a child, she was 8, deal with grief and trauma and overcoming. And it was written for her. And then her counsellor suggested that I send it to her publishers, and I was really lucky. I got 3 publishing contracts, and they've helped us bring this to life, and we hope it might help other children or other parents and carers that are looking after children to find a way of talking through those big emotions.
Well, you're talking about grief, and you have over 25 years corporate experience, and I'm sure that there's probably a lot of experience you've achieved or experienced over time with the ups and downs of the market, letting people go. I mean, there's all sorts of grief in business too.
Yes.
And so I'm sure there's probably a little bit of background experience that was also being able to play, as opposed to just being a parent only and trying to deal with it and help a child through a situation.
Yeah, I think you're right, Red. I think sometimes we don't realize we view the world on this is work and this is home, but the reality is wherever we go. And so whatever we're experiencing whilst in the workplace. And as you say, there's loads of grief within the workplace anyway, with jobs coming and going, economies growing and then shrinking back. There's lots of times where you have to deal with really difficult times for people and hold the space for them to be able to navigate whatever's going on in their world with grace. And I guess a lot of that has pulled into how I parent. I guess it helps that I had her later on. So I'd learned a lot of those things, like you say, 25 years in corporate life before I had her. So you were able to take that learning and hopefully use some of that to realize things for her, because most of what goes on for us as adults is linked to something that happened to us as it's in our inner child, and so I'm very conscious of that, and therefore I've got my inner child's outside me running around and expecting me to help her, so I spend a lot of time researching this kind of thing to make sure that I'm helping her as best I can.
Yeah, just as a parent, even two parents, if it's that experience is limited, and you lose a brother, a sister, a mom, an aunt, whatever. And depending on the closeness, and if somebody was in severe health for 30 years, it's expected. But if it's a car wreck and totally unexpected, and they're fairly young, I lost a brother in a scuba diving accident, and he was like 27, I think. And it's just those things happen, and each one builds a little bit of experience in us. And I think it's super, super great that you're able to take and align and take the analysis and provide something to help. And not only your daughter, but a lot of people in general. And that's adding a lot of value is what I'm trying to say.
Bless you. Thank you. And that's our hope. And I've been so lucky, Red. Everyone that's read it has given such lovely feedback, and I've had adults saying this is the book they wish they had now, let alone when they were a child, which has been just so heartwarming, because all we want to do is help, and if we can help one child or one carer or one parent feel less alone when they're already going through grief themselves, then it's worth putting it out there.
Yeah. Okay, you've written a number of books. This particular book here, let's finish up on the children's book first. Okay, that's coming out tomorrow. I noticed on Amazon December 5th. So I know that one's there, and people can buy that literally right now today, and it will be available to the public tomorrow. So that one is coming up there. How long since your other books are all business related, how long did it actually take you to write the children's book?
2 days.
Oh, you're kidding me.
Yeah. Well, I say 2 days, and to be fair to it, in it there's a song or poem that I read to her every night. I actually wrote that poem for her christening when she was 9 months old, and Scarlett's just turned 9 last week. So I guess you could say some of the concept has been in my head for almost 9 years, but the actual process of writing her the story, literally I did it over 2 days. It just kind of came to me, and because I wasn't expecting it to go to anybody else, I guess I didn't overthink it. I just let flow what I wanted to say to her and what I wanted to share with her, and that's why I never expected it to go anywhere. It was only ever supposed to go to Scarlett, but she likes tangible things, and so I printed her out a copy. It was just a little PDF, and we'd done the original illustrations using AI, and obviously they've now been professionally done by the publisher. But so I printed it out, and she had this little booklet, and she took it into school with her on the day, just so she'd got some comfort. And it was then that people read it, because she'd got it with her, and they were like, "You really need to get this published. This would help so many people." And they'd like to use it with their clients, because it's a gentle way of helping them navigate what's going on. And I guess for me, the purpose of the story is to remind us that love never actually leaves. it just changes shape and stays with us always. And if we can help children understand that, then hopefully we put them in a much safer, more resilient space to be able to navigate the ups and downs that life is going to give us.
One of the areas that's always a big challenge, I publish books for people too, and I've been going through one here lately. It's just almost a hair-pulling event trying to get something done, especially when somebody's halfway around the world doing the book design. But hold your book up and show us the cover and tell us about how the cover got created.
So that is my little girl, Scarlett. That's our dog, Pudding, who you'll probably see at some point, Red, because he tends to wander in, unfortunately, on shows. And that is her favourite teddy, Lenny. So they pulled the illustrations together, having seen pictures of all three of them, and the rest of the concept was designed by the illustration team at Austin Macaulay, who are the publishers who were publishing it. But they did follow a lot of the themes of the AI pictures that I'd originally generated when I created it just for Scarlett. But couldn't be prouder of the book. And what I love and what Scarlett loves is this is really Scarlett's story, not mine. I just got the privilege of writing it down.
Okay. Editing and marketing and all that, you probably had that down pat by the time you wrote this book. Anything unusual about editing and marketing social media on a children's book versus a business book?
Yeah, so for me, Red, if I'm honest, this is the first time I haven't that I've gone with an actual publisher. And so it was a whole new experience for me. And they couldn't have been nicer. They were so helpful and so friendly, and they involved you in every part of it. But that has been that's been interesting and different. And I guess for me, some of the knowing where to go to outreach, and also how does that fit in? You're known for writing leadership books, and all of a sudden, out of left field, you write a children's book, and how do you ensure that that doesn't look confusing? Particularly, I guess one of the things I've struggled with is the social media element of that, because this isn't designed to be a business, it's just designed to help. But I do run a business that's all about leadership and exec coaching, and so there's been a real fine balance with promoting it and not confusing my normal followers, I guess.
Yeah, your audience is a different audience, and therefore they're in different places when you market and advertise or let the word get out. And like you're doing here today, this is a different audience. And if you were on another show, it'd be, again, you have followers on different shows. So I congratulate you on such a valuable book, and for the fact that you turned it around, got it out, and you got the credibility of other people reading it. So you got to get this thing published now. That to me, I think is a major deal. You also have another book coming out. You've written several. In fact, I was looking at the dates. You've been super busy here in the last 3 years writing books.
Yeah, you could say I've become a bit of a prolific writer, unintentionally, Red. But I have got another book which I've been writing for about 2 years, and then I had to have a word with myself when I kind of wrote Scarlett's book and managed to get a publishing contract in under a month. I was like, what are you doing with the one you've been doing for 2 years? And I've done loads of interviews, met some amazing people. And so I challenged myself to finish it. So I did finish it at the end of July. And the same publisher that picked up the children's book asked for first refusal on work. So sent it to them, and they've been delighted to publish that as well. And that actually comes out in a month. So it comes out on the 30th of January. So I'm ending the year in a real high. It's like 2 book launches in 2 months. What a way to end the year and start the year.
Well, that's unusual, especially since it's 2 different genres of categories there. Obviously, your business books, you're drawing on your own experience. Okay, you said you used AI for character development, not necessarily for content creation or anything.
Right.
But
yeah, it was.
My camera is off. Let me see what I need to do here real quickly and get that thing turned back on. Hang on. Visual. Why is it not working? Camera. Okay, this is interesting. I've never had this happen to me before. Kim, I'm going to continue right now in audio, and try to figure out in the background what's going on with my camera. I do not know what happened there, but I will figure that out as we're talking. But let's go down a couple other things here. We're coming up here, on 15 minutes? We get about 4.5 minutes before we go to a commercial break. I think during the commercial break, I'm probably going to reboot everything here on my end. And so we'll just stay in this, black and white mode and the color mode and continue on.
Okay.
You have a podcast of your own. Tell us a little bit about that.
I do. So I have a podcast called Authentic Achievements. And that was really designed in the fact that I have a belief that every single one of us has got a story. We've got a lived experience that adds value to the world, but we don't always have a place to share it, or we don't always know how to bring that to life. And so Authentic Achievements was born to do just that. And then just over 4 years ago, I had the absolute pleasure of meeting Dr. Jacqueline, and she was gracious enough to let me have a show on USA Global TV and radio as well, which is also called Authentic Achievements, and really follows the same theme, which is trying to provide a space where people can share their lived experience, their lessons, what they've learned, the advice that they'd give to themselves if they could go back to being the other side of the problem, in the hope that actually it helps anybody listening to know that there is a way through, and to have some actionable items that they can try for themselves to help hopefully make their lives better.
Well, I achieved a look. Okay, there we go. You play with it enough and it'll eventually come around and help you. Okay, not a problem. I still don't know what happened. Not important. We'll continue on. You've been involved in a number of things outside of just coaching and things like that. I was looking at the thing here, International Imposter Syndrome Day. What is that?
So we set it up 5 years ago. It's coming into its 6th year. And it was really around the fact that a lot of what I do, and I've personally suffered with imposter syndrome for years and had to do a lot of inner work to understand the wiring of my brain and what I needed to do to wire it so it actually was supporting me instead of holding me back. And then we started researching it, and a lot of the people that I work with, there ends up there being elements of imposter syndrome, not maybe every day, but always in those moments of darkness and doubt. And I realized that although there's International Pizza Eating Day, there isn't International Imposter Syndrome Awareness Day. So there's no safe space for people to come and get resources. And one of the challenges when you've got imposter syndrome is your greatest fear is that you will be found out. And so the one thing you're not going to do is tell anybody you're feeling it, because then you'll definitely be found out because you've just told them. And yet I know from all the research that's been done, one of the first steps to overcoming it is to talk about it. So it was set up 5 years ago with a couple of friends to really just be a place once a year where we can interview people, share their lived experience, share their advice. We talk to, lots of doctors and counselors and other professionals who can talk about practical ways that you can grab hold of that inner script, that inner voice, and turn it from a critic to a cheerleader.
Is there a difference between imposter syndrome and just being introverted?
I think there can be, because you get lots of extroverted people who are facing that imposter. And for me, I personally think that the term is outdated. I mean, the term came around in 1978 when it was identified by Pauline Clance and forgive me, somebody Innes. I can't remember their first name. It's gone from my head. And it was originally diagnosed as a female-only phenomenon. And yet we now realize with all the research that actually it impacts up to 70% of us globally at any point in our life. And I personally wonder if instead of it being imposter, it's more like the insecure overachiever. It's when we get something that we kind of go, is this real? Are we really allowed this? That we start to doubt ourselves. And there's been really famous people that have opened up about suffering from it. And in fact, Einstein was known to suffer from it. He had a quote which said something along the likes of, "The esteem within which my works are held leave me feeling like an unlikely swindler." So even somebody recognized as a global genius doubted themselves.
We're getting ready to go to break here in just a few seconds. I'd like to come back and talk a little bit about Mary's Meals before we get back into your book. So that's the direction I want to go in when we come back. So stand by. We'll be back here in just about a minute or so.
Every woman carries a story of strength, of purpose, of light. Through her courage, the world is transformed. Through her grace, generations are inspired. This is Iconic Women. Within Every Woman Lives a Goddess, a celebration of brilliance, beauty, and empowerment. Join us every Wednesday at 11 a.m. New York, 4 p.m. London time, only here on USA, Global TVR, and radio. Featuring the iconic Dr. Jacqueline Kerbeck, honoring voices that shine across the world. Subscribe to our YouTube channels, USA Global TV and Dr. Jacqueline Kerbeck, to watch and engage with all our content. World-class education, entertainment, hope, and inspiration. In a noisy world, true connection begins with listening. Elevated listening transforms every conversation in just 5 simple steps. Pause and breathe. Set your intention. Listen with curiosity. Reflect back. Agree on one next step. Join the Listening Mentor on Let's Finally Talk with Dr. Jacqueline Kerbeck, the Listening Mentor, where we help you find inner peace, one conversation at a time. Streaming every day. Let's Finally Talk TV show with Dr. Jacqueline Kerbeck, only here on USA, Global TV and radio. Subscribe to our YouTube channels to watch and engage with all our content.
Howdy, y'all. Randall Laughlin here. We're back on the Corner Bookstore on the USA Global TV and Radio Network. And my guest today is another USA Global TV and Radio Network host, Kim-Adele Randall. Kim, please join us back up here on stage.
Hi, Red.
Howdy. Before the break, I asked you to think about Mary's Meals. It seems like you're very active in that, and the world needs to know a little bit more.
Yeah, so I was really lucky to get involved with Mary's Meals a few years ago. And what they do is they provide school meals, life-changing school meals, to children living in some of the most poverty-stricken areas and communities in the world, places where those children often wouldn't be able to go to school because they had to spend all day walking miles to try and find a healthy meal, or any meal, even if it wasn't healthy. And so Mary's Meals was designed to provide those school meals to enable those children to know when they wake up that they are going to be well fed that day, and therefore are able to go to school and get the education that's going to help them have a better life. And so I was honored to be asked to be one of their leadership mentors. So I mentor the team on their leadership skills and their presence to hopefully have a bigger impact and make a bigger difference in the world.
Okay. Your company is Authentic Achievements.
Yes.
How long has that company been going?
So we just about, in fact, on Sunday, it will have been there for 8 years.
Okay.
Oh, no,
So
sorry, 7 years. My apologies, Red. 7 years. Scarlett was 2. She wasn't 1 when I did it, which is how I remember.
Yes, a lot of us do that too. I mean, I'm been through kids, grandkids, now we're great grandkids. So a lot of things are aligned to certain ages. I understand that totally. But you form the company, and that's part of your business consulting and leadership development and those kinds of things. But being a corner bookstore, you've written several books. It seems like 2022 and 2023 were banner years for Kim, because it just all of a sudden, oh, there's another one. There's another one. And so most of us don't produce 2 books in 1 year that are of that kind of genre.
Yeah.
And so you focus on slightly different areas of business, but tell us a little bit about the books and how they helped your credibility and what people can get out of them.
Yeah, so my first one, if I can indulge slightly in kind of the first ever bit of book I wrote, happened on the very first day of lockdown. And I got a phone call from a friend who said, Kim, we're writing a book on remote working, and you've led remote teams for years. Would you co-author? And I was like, no, I can't do that. I can't write a book. I can't even write a shopping list, Red. So I certainly can't write a book. And their comeback was, Kim, you are in lockdown with a 2-year-old. What else are you going to do? And I was like, fair point. We should raise to the challenge. And then the next thing he said to me was, you've got 5 days to write your chapter. No, it's like, what? Like 5 days? Okay, it's only a chapter. I'll write it. What's the worst that can happen? And so I wrote my chapter, thinking if it's rubbish, they won't put it in the book. And we launched on, I think it was day 10 of lockdown, and on day 12, I was live on BBC Radio London talking about how you become a multi-international best-selling author in a pandemic. And I was like, I don't really know. I just did my chapter. But I guess for me, what that taught me in that process, and then I was invited to kind of co-author a number in quick succession, was I'm not particularly good at sitting and thinking about what it is I want to write. But if I ask myself a question, then I can answer that based on the knowledge that I've got. So for me personally, how I've written my books is to use the voice memo in my phone. And while I'm out walking the dog, which I do lots of times, whatever comes into my head, I'll just talk into the voice notes. And that gives me all the raw material. And I found that that's helped me write a lot faster, because I didn't have to sit there and overthink the structure. What I did was kind of just get out of me everything that I wanted to say about the topic. And then I spend a long time doing the edit, like turning all of that into something that makes semblance of hopefully a good book that's going to help people. Okay, so you're out walking, pudding. And a thought comes and you yak into the phone. You get to your home. Do you listen to the audio, or do you have a transcription that gives you a text of that? I'll be honest, I get it transcribed because I cannot bear to hear my own voice. so I say it, and I say it once, and then I'll come back and I get that transcribed, and then obviously go through it and check the bits where I don't speak as well as perhaps I should speak. So occasional words don't pick up. I'm dreadful. I don't say the word because, much to my mum's disgust. So that clearly comes up every time as cuz. And I have to go through and amend all of those. But they're the kind of little bits, because the main flow, what you've wanted to get out there, I find it so much easier to do it that way. Because when I've got to sit and think, I overthink. I don't know if it's something everybody does, but I overthink and I agonize over what that first line's going to look like. And that can, I can procrastinate for days because I can't get that first line. And I realized that was holding me back. So now I don't worry about whether or not what I'm about to say is at the start of the book, the middle of the book, or the end of the book. I just go, this idea has come to me today. And here's the previous experience that I've got that I think matches the question, and therefore here's how I would answer it if somebody were asking me face to face. Your book is primarily set up for most industries, most countries, or is it more of a British UK focus? No, it's focused across all industries and countries. I've worked in lots of industries. I've worked in lots of countries, and for me, one of the things that kind of remains true is everything really is a people problem. If we get really good at people, we get really good at life, and yet they're the skills that we're not taught. Or as I often will say, we badge them as the soft skills, and yet my answer to that is always, if they're really so soft, why do people find them so hard? Because people aren't particularly good at the people skills, or that really listening to understand the other person's perspective and seeing therefore how we can help them, how we can add value. And it kind of comes back to the lessons that I learned of leadership. The greatest lesson was when I was a hairdresser, and they taught me that what you needed to do was listen to really understand what the other person was trying to achieve, to help them to achieve it, and then to have them leave you feeling a sense of increase, feeling better as a result of the interaction. And for me, that's leadership. If we do that for our colleagues, if we do that for our clients, if we do that for our business partners, our board members, even our regulators, then the world suddenly becomes a much easier place to navigate. And I've managed to do that because my experience was financial services initially, but I've subsequently worked in pharmaceuticals, in medical, in manufacturing, in IT. And it's the same thing in all of those. When it boils down to it, what we've really got is a problem in being able to effectively communicate with people.
Well, it's interesting, Kim, because some businesses, I was in the military, you don't have a choice of who works under you, with you, above you. And sometimes 2 years from now, they're going, so it's a constant turnover. I hear pudding, I think.
Sorry.
Not a problem. Welcome to pudding, just part of the show. Anyway, but other times I'm hiring engineers, or I'm hiring managers. And to me, the absolute biggest problem, as you said, is people problems. And so if I can, take a look at the resume, okay, they're technically competent to do it, but I'm more concerned about, if they're a supervisor, how do they handle certain kinds of situations, particularly people problems? If they're an engineer, are they going to fit into my group socially, so I don't have to sit there and because those, I can handle the technical problems to some level, depending on a number of other things going on. But people problems are there every day, and sometimes you take them home with you at night, and that's not good. And when you start thinking about them when you're trying to go to sleep, that's even worse. And so there's just a lot of issues there. And if there's any one thing to me that makes a really good manager, is that you're the insulator between the people above you and your group, but you keep your group happy.
Yeah, it's so true, Red. And it is the thing that we don't teach, and we don't help people understand how do you create emotional and psychological safety for your people, so that we can actually get through the challenges. We had a guest on my show earlier today, and he was talking about that, the need to have what's unsaid said, because the unsaid is the thing that is going to cause the conflict or the friction that sits underneath it. And for me, my number one, or my number two actually, my top two things that I think are really important in leaders, which is what's in the in the next book, is curiosity and presence. And that's because as leaders, we've been sold a dud for years in the fact that we've been told we have to know all the answers, and we can't be seen to not know the answers, because then we're not the leader. People will question us. But actually what we need to know is the right questions to ask, so that we can get the knowledge and the experience from the people in the team. That's why we've got them. If not, we'd be doing it all on our own. And so it's about using that curiosity intentionally, to be able to see more of what's going on. And the second one is being truly present. We're in an ever-evolving world that is so fast-paced that, I invite the listeners to ask themselves, when were you truly present last? Without the mental to-do list, without the something on the phone, without running after your emails, without doing something else. The world's got that busy that we need to take time, not loads of time, but bits of time every day, to be intentionally present with ourselves and with others, to be able to really see where the art of the possible is.
Well, you covered a very important point very quickly about asking the right question. 6 months ago, I was in a place, and there were a couple of people there that wanted to start a business, and so we're sitting there chatting. They said, "What about?" I said, "No, you don't understand. You're not asking yourself the right questions." And so you go, "Okay, what is the right question?" Well, if you're going to start something, there's a lot of things you need to know up front, rather than just the fact that I love to do this. Can you monetize it? I mean, there's a lot of things that have to be done, but most of us just go with our emotional, love of whatever we want to do, but we don't necessarily seek out and get the answers to the questions that we really need to know before we invest a lot of time and money in something. So I think that's so true, is that we really need to be, obviously, listeners, but we really need to be better askers of questions, because that is really and truly where we get that, okay, I'm missing that little nugget. I need to know more about that. And then that may be the decision that flips out. Okay, we're going to go, or no, we're not. So I think that's super critical, Kim.
Yeah, I completely agree. And I think you have to be a good questioner to be a good listener, because very often, what people first tell us isn't necessarily the real crux of what's going on for them. There's a theory called the 5 why theory that says the first thing people tell you is the thing they think you're going to expect, or at least understand. But actually, once you question it to further layers, and I don't mean we'll all turn into toddlers and go, Why? But the idea is, okay, okay, that's interesting. What about that makes it important? What impact does that have for you? By the time you get to the fifth layer, you'll actually get to the root of what's really important for that person. And that's when we can really help them feel seen, feel heard, and be able to be in a place to truly help them. And for me, that really is proper listening.
I work for a company, and the process they use is called Taproot. They went down 7 levels of why.
Yeah.
And that was, you had a failure. Well, why did it fail? Okay. And then there was 5 or 6 or 7 different categories. Okay. With the training and this and that, whatever it may happen to be. And that's what I use based on things that have happened is, why does this occur in the human body? What's chemically causing it? What can you do to stop it? So anyway, that, the diving down and understanding the why is critical in so many aspects of our life. It's unbelievable.
It's completely. It's the same with, I see it all the time with my little one. The first thing they say is the first thing they've worked out how to say, but that might not necessarily cover everything for them. And as we were saying actually earlier on the show, there was that element of going, have you ever tried everything to make somebody happy and then nothing seems to work? You do all the things that they've said and they're still not happy, and that's because they probably haven't really told you what's really, really going to make them happy. And because we leap in the minute somebody says something that we're like, oh, I know that, I could do that. We leap in then instead of giving them the space and asking them enough questions to determine, is that really what they want? Or is that just the first thought that they need to be given the time, the space, and the kindness to let that thought evolve?
Yeah. Well, based on our conversation, you had a wealth of information on various aspects of business and leaders and other things there. So I am sure your book coming out is going to be another international bestseller, no doubt in my mind. I certainly hope so. And I would certainly love to have you back on the show again when that happens. So it's an opportunity to do that. So anyway, Kim, how do people buy your books? How do they get in touch with you if they need you as a keynote speaker or something like that?
Yeah. So the Always With You book is currently available for pre-order, and from tomorrow for actual order, on Amazon, both UK and America. It's available in Waterstones, and it's available at Barnes & Noble. The same will be true of The Curious Leader when that comes out on the 30th of January. And you can find me at www.authenticachievements.com and just reach out. You can also find me on most social media, either as Kim-Adele Randall or Kim-Adele 10. And I love to hear people's stories. And, if you've got a story that you'd really like to share, a lived experience that you think is going to help, then please do get in touch. Equally, if you're a business that is looking for inspiration for your leadership team, or an exec that would like a trusted advisor that's operated themselves at board level in a big organization, then reach out. I know how it feels to be where you are, and I can help.
Okay, for our audio audience, Authentic Achievements, Authentic, AUTHENTIC, Achievements, ACHIEVEMENT, just exactly the way it is, no spaces, nothing else, AuthenticAchievements.com. And Kim is ready to help. Kim, thank you so very, very much for your time today. I wish you the best on your children's book that's being offered to the public tomorrow, and have fun with that, because I know you will. And on your business book here, literally in about less than 60 days, that'll be out in the market too. So congratulations on 2 books in 2 months.
Bless you. Thank you, Red. And thank you for allowing me to come and spend time with you and with your audience. I appreciate it.
Well, take care, Kim. We'll catch you later on. We're concluding this week's The Corner Bookstore. I do 3 shows back to back to back on Thursdays. The Corner Bookstore is my first one. The Wise Ones focuses more on entrepreneurship than it does on writing. But we have a lot of authors on that one. In fact, the entrepreneur coming up next also has a book. And I think a lot of entrepreneurs use their books to help establish credibility. It's an easy way of doing that. So if you're a speaker and you don't have a book, it might be something seriously to think about. My show coming up after The Wise Ones is called Talking Heads. And my topic today is brain longevity. Essentially, what is the science behind preventing dementia before it starts? What can we do? There are a lot of things out there, but you have to understand the process of how dementia begins, and it takes literally decades but there's a lot of symptoms that have a lot of side effects, a lot of issues there that we can identify and say, hey, maybe I need to do something different. And so all I'm doing is planting some seeds and letting you take it from there. Randall Laughlin signing off on the Corner Bookstore on the USA Global TV and Radio Network. Take care, y'all. Bye now.
Is it true? Is it kind? Is it necessary? In a world quick to judge, one book dares to reveal the hidden cost of silence. Discover holy but harmful, The Silent Sin of Judgment, How Hidden Judgments Destroy Relationships and Damage Lives by Dr. Jacqueline Kerbeck. The Amazon #1 bestseller that's transforming the way we understand ourselves and the way we see others. Pick up the companion workbook to uncover your own hidden judgments and learn how to break free from them. Available now on Amazon and at fine bookstores worldwide.
The moon is a spotlight, the sun's on the stage, the world's got some good seats, but nobody stays. They get their opinions, I've got mine too. So, darling, please listen to what I say. Listen, babe, now, listen, babe, now. Listen, babe, now, listen, babe, now. Listen, babe, now, listen, babe, now. If our love isn't true, what can I do? Reinventing myself, letting go of you. I've got a confession, just a thought or two. Darling, I'm better off without you. Listen, babe, now, listen, babe, now. You got the power. Listen, babe, now, listen, babe, now. No need to hide. Listen, babe, now, listen, babe, now. Girl on fire. Listen, babe, now, listen, babe, now. You got the power. Listen, babe, now, listen, babe, now. No need to hide. Listen, babe, now, listen, babe, now. Girl on fire. Listen to what I say. Listen to what I say. Listen to what I say.
Thank you, viewers and listeners of USA Global TV and Radio, for joining us today. We're honoured to have your time and attention as part of our global community. At USA Global TV and Radio, we believe in the power of authentic conversations, meaningful connections, and creating a world of possibilities together. Want to be part of something bigger? Join our team of elevated listeners at usaglobaltv.com, a space where your voice matters and your ability to listen transforms relationships. Stay connected with us across all our platforms for thought-provoking discussions, expert insights, and empowering stories. Subscribe to our channels at youtube.com/c/USA Global TV. Follow us on social media and explore the endless opportunities we're creating for growth, learning, and inspiration. Together, we're not just broadcasting, we're building bridges and changing lives one conversation at a time. For inquiries, contact us at info@usaglobaltv.com. Music by Johnny Dyes. Produced by Executive Producer and Director Dr. Jacqueline Kerbeck. Voiceover by Mike Porter. Creative Direction by Paul Garcia. All rights reserved. Copyright 2025. Visit usaglobaltv.com to view our full terms and conditions.